what do our futures hold for us as human beings competing with artificial intelligence for jobs. Folks, just popping in here to let you know that my book is finally out. I will be on here at some point talking a little bit about this. And while I'm here, one of the things, thank you to those who've watched my few video posts so far. I have been torn because, like I said at the onset, I'm a super private person, and I have been grappling with what can I talk about. And I also come from a very old school mentality of there's some things you just don't discuss. You just don't put out there to hang. So I still abide by that. But nonetheless, I want to make sure that the content that I'm bringing to you is relevant to the context of our times, also authentic to me. So I've made some changes. So I think one of the things I really want to get into is really looking at how humans are beginning to be decentered in technological spaces. And in so doing, there's been a creation of anxiety, and I see it, I feel it, I'm living it, in terms of what do our futures hold for us as human beings competing with artificial intelligence for jobs. I'm privy today that Google has laid off, I think, about a quarter of its coders. I'm not quite sure. I will actually add the specifics just for fact checking somewhere, but I think that's the number. And while I live in Canada, the impact is also felt here. I have friends who are mechanical engineers who cannot get work. And so these are the things I think I want to, talk about. I have a phone call coming in, so let me just pause. So folks, I'm back. So much has happened in between taking that call. So our fridge is just, it was on its last leg. I think we've had that fridge for, I want to say 10 years, maybe less. I don't know, but we have a gentleman coming by to check it. He's our local person who takes care of our fridge, stove, dishwashers, and all of that. And he's just absolutely wonderful. He's a mainstay in the town, and I hope he does retire soon. So I say all this to say, getting back to the conversation I wanted to have, I really want to bring content that is authentically me. I'm not about, hair, makeup, and all of that. I think I think a lot about things. I think a lot about thriving and surviving and how people are doing. And it is what I would like to bring to this. So aside from my scholarly work, which really looks at the impact generally of technology on human-centered design futures, or human futures, that's what I think I want this channel to be about, to talk about things that people may not be well versed in, and to have conversation about what that means for on-the-ground impact. So people often think about, well, oh, they're introducing this AI thing at work, but I want people to wake up and realize that businesses are there for efficiency, cost efficiency. And if there is a piece of AI that is AI model that is actually doing the task that used to be done by a human being, they're going to go with that, right? And it's why I've always caution people not to make your job your home, where you pour so much of your energy into it that it becomes such a big part of your identity that when it is taken away from you, you're back to square one. And so I know what I'm talking about. I stopped working in a corporate space about a little over a year ago, to the date, and part of that was there was a lot of moving fast and breaking things in varying contexts, of course, but there was also the sense that you were in a crab bucket. And you know what I'm talking about, the idea that there can only be one, there can only be one manager, there can only be one of that. And for somebody like myself who had managed people all my life, or all my corporate life, I realized it was not what I wanted to do when I went back to school. And coming back into a space where I subjugated myself to be ruled or controlled by corporate bosses, that really created so much anxiety in me and so much unhappiness. And there are things that happened that I'm going to talk about. I actually went mute for 4 days because of my job. And I really wanted to remove myself from that because toxic jobs manifest in so many different ways. So my concern as a world citizen, as a YouTuber, is really thinking about what can we as a collective begin to do to create communities where we learn from each other in terms of how do we thrive and survive and prosper in a space where we are being now, placed in competition with machines. And the example that I used before I hang up was the Google situation where, people who have PhDs and masters, and even with the government in the US, we see people with these grand degrees like myself, out of a job. So we need to pull our heads together to really think about the value systems that are going to make it possible for us to, as a collective, survive in a future where the top 1% will extract as much as they can from the rest of us and leave us completely depleted. So, back to my book. While this is a tangent from what I want to talk about, this is my book, Design Heuristics for Emerging Technologies, AI, Data, and Human-Centered Futures. I also have a subtitle here, Considerations for the Right of Women. There's a long reason why I did that. It's really an extraction from my own dissertation. So this can be applicable in so many contexts when we're thinking about designing futures where, media and graphical user interfaces and apps and all of that is what lies between us and now these big tech companies extracting so much from us, including data, right? What impact does that have? And so I hope everybody gets a copy of this. You can buy this where books are sold. It's available globally. But like I said, I typically post on Sundays. I just wanted to drop in here to let you know that my book is out. Do go support. Your support is really greatly appreciated. And in the interim, do tell me what you would like to talk about. I want to keep the conversation within the realm of human futures and how we survive what I think is going to be an onslaught where we are continuously extracted from without replenishing the collective. So do subscribe, and I'll see you on Sunday. Cheers.